Did you ever wonder how we got from this?
Nice car. What's the retail on one of those?
More than you can afford, pal. Ferrari.
Smoke.
To this.
Oh shit! We're gonna need a bigger truck.
Well, you're not alone. I, like many car enthusiasts, have been a big fan of the Fast and Furious franchise ever since I was a kid. And I was a kid. When the first one came out, I was pretty young. I don't remember how old I was, but I wasn't even old enough to see it in theaters at the time. Not 1, 2, or really, I don't even think 3 Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Now, the Fast and Furious movies were always a little bit silly and never fully realistic in any way, shape, or form. But somehow we've gone from a pretty relatable movie about the car community and kind of the underground aspect of it and street racing and that kind of stuff to fully fledged firefights in the favelas of Brazil. Jumping a car from skyscraper to skyscraper in Dubai. 17-mile-long runways. And now, nuclear-powered submarines. Recently, I had the chance to see Fast and Furious 8, The Fate of the Furious, and as you would expect, I can't go into any detail about the film until it is released. But what I can tell you is, if we look at the trailer...
You're a genuine outlaw, but you're family.
A hell of a job, brother. When we get back to the base, beer's on me.
He's about to go up against the only thing they can't handle. You.
Dominic Toretto just turned on us.
Well, you look at that.
Here they come.
I don't know if the old Dom is in there. I don't give a damn. I'm taking you down. Toretto, let's play.
You probably have a pretty good idea in your head of what happens in the film, and if you are somewhat intelligent, you're right. That's exactly what happens. Now, there are some twists and turns thrown in there to keep you on your toes, and it's not fully what you might think in the trailer, but it's pretty close. You know, it's a pretty easy to guess and straightforward storyline. I think that's the problem. You know, each one of these movies that comes out, I like it less than the one before. I didn't like 8 that much. I didn't like it as much as 7. I didn't like that one as much as 6, etc., etc. They've just strayed so far from what they once were, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for every film. You know, I don't think that every film should just stay the same forever. But, you know, you look at number 1. Now, 1 was this story about a guy, an undercover cop, a young guy who was joining the underground racing scene to catch the bad guys. And it was a really cool story. And, of course, you know, he meets Dom, and that's how the whole thing gets started. Then you look at number 2, which was a direct sequel to number 1, and it made sense. You know, there was a timeline there. And then you had Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, which was kind of the, well, was always the oddball, and a lot of people didn't like it. But I have to say, I didn't mind it that much. I thought it was okay. And then you had number 4, where they were catching a drug dealer. And number 4, it kind of changed a little bit from what it was. It kind of was getting more into the action movie than I would say. It was always an action movie, but it was mostly about cars and kind of small scale. And then they were trying to catch a drug dealer, like I said, and it became a little bit bigger, a little bit more intense, and strayed a little bit from just cars. But either way, it was still very much a Fast and the Furious film. And then you get into these new films, and there's nothing that connects the plot of one to the other. You look at 4 into 5, you know, they were on the run, they had broken Dom out of prison, and that's how they ended up in Brazil, and they wanted to pull off this big heist so that they could have money and they wouldn't have to worry about doing small jobs. Whatever they were doing to get money, they wouldn't have to worry about that anymore, and they could they would have enough money to live a free life, and they could get away from the law. And 5 for me is where things really started to change. You know, it kind of became more of an action film than a car film. And, you know, you really, in 5, you saw the introduction of guns much more and other aspects like that. But still really liked 5. I mean, it was super unrealistic with the bank vault, like the Chargers being able to pull that. Through the streets, but either way, it was a cool movie, and I liked it. But for me, 5 is kind of where it ended. You know, there wasn't really a reason to go into a 6th film. But either way, 6 was okay too, and of course we still had Paul Walker, which is a big thing for this film as well, by the way. And I hate to say it, but without him, you know, to some degree, there is no Fast and the Furious. I realize that, you know, I don't think that, like, I'm not saying you should have ended it out of respect or because, you know, this isn't what he would want or anything like that. I'm just saying that, you know, it's kind of, the franchise is over without him. I mean, he's the main character, and he is what made the films great, in my opinion. He and, of course, Vin Diesel. There's nothing Fast and Furious about these new films. It's really just a team of action stars, secret agents who go around the world doing more and more ridiculous things. The one great aspect that has remained is the cars, which unfortunately we don't get to see anymore, but the cars are still really badass. You know, especially Fast 7, you had that scene where they jumped out of the back of a C-130, and you had this really cool lifted Dodge Charger on mud tires.
Here we go.
And all this other stuff, but that was like a 10-minute scene. And Fast 8 is kind of the same deal. You don't really get to see the cars that much, and the cars you do see, it's basically an advertisement for Dodge. Now, you might be saying, well, you're only mad because you're a Chevy fanboy, but really, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's Fords, Chevys, Dodges, Nissans, or anything else. But since we have so many awesome cars out there in the market right now to choose from, I would like to see maybe just a tad bit more diversity. Either way, Fast and Furious 8, The Fate of the Furious is, God, so many Fs, is an enjoyable film, and I'm guessing if you go to see this, it's not going to be your first Fast film, so you kind of know what to expect. But at the same time, it's not going to be anything that's going to make you say, oh, holy shit, that's great. With that being said, go out, see the film, have some fun, and form your own opinion, but I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you are stopping in for the first time, please subscribe. Take care. Have a great day. So a quick message here at the end of the video. My camera is sitting on a pile of tires. If you're new to the channel, this is normally where my Corvette goes. It is out getting a new exhaust. But I wanted to talk about the Demon real quick. Of course, it was revealed tonight, and I know everybody's going to be asking me about this car, and I figured it would be appropriate since we did talk about Fast 8, which the Demon is in. So I have the specs right here, and the Demon can hit 60 miles per hour in 2.3 seconds. Fucking insane. Pulling 1.8 Gs with a 9.65 quarter mile at 140 miles an hour. That is nuts. My Corvette with 700 wheel horsepower is only capable of running like a 989 quarter mile. So the Dodge Demon, straight from the factory, as you buy it, for probably 65, 70 grand, which is fucking terrifying, by the way. The fact that people can buy this thing for so cheap is nuts. It almost should be more expensive just so that maybe some people can't afford it, but either way, that's insane. A 9.65 quarter mile from the factory, and it still has a 6.2 liter Hemi V8, and it can pump out 770 pound-feet of torque with a higher rev limit of 6,500 RPMs. It uses the first ever liquid-to-air charge air cooler system, dropping intake temps by 45 degrees, the first one mounted on a production car. In addition, it comes with updated rear gearing to help with torque, as I would imagine is necessary. The largest functional cool air intake system on a production car, a massive 2.7 liter supercharger offering 14.5 pounds of boost. And that's really about it. And I apologize that I'm reading off of the phone, but all these specs were just released. I don't have them memorized yet. But what is my opinion on the Demon? I think it's cool. I think it's incredible. I owned a Hellcat, and I thought that was going to be like the horsepower king pretty much forever. And now, of course, Demon blows it out of the water. I don't think anything's going to come along and beat this car in the quarter mile for a long time, even the GT500, you know, maybe, but I mean, this car is so ridiculous. You can buy it without a passenger seat or back seats, and then you can buy those options back for $1. It was actually banned by the NHRA for competition. I don't know why they would ban it, Maybe they're banning it as a production car because it's so crazy. But either way, I'm a Chevy guy, but this is like the coolest thing out there right now. Let's just be honest. It's the coolest thing out there. There's nothing quite like this car that can run a 9.65 quarter mile. I mean, I'm kind of at a loss for words because it's really cool. And I don't think that, some people were thinking it was going to have like over 1,000 horsepower, which, we don't know if it can on race fuel or not, or some quick mods or not. But either way, 845, I said, horsepower. This thing's insane. And I think, like I said, for the price, although it's kind of scary, that's cool. I mean, this is a very accessible 9.6 second car. I stress that. I've said it about 6 times now. A very easy to afford, relatively speaking, easy to afford 9-second car from the factory with a warranty. It's nuts. And yeah, I want one. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.